Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on which part of the time zone you're watching us from. Welcome to a rebranded season of the Project 40 Knowledge Hub. We are coming to you live from the Polkadot Studio by Lifestyle Hub on the 7th floor of Nusaiba Towers in Abuja, Nigeria, Africa. My name is Gregory Abioye, and I'm not alone in the studio today. I have the delectable Bimbo Favor. Hi, Bimbo, you look exquisite.
Oh my God, stop it. Hi, Mr. Gregory. It's such a privilege to be joining you here at the Polkadot Studio in the city of Abuja, Nigeria. I'm so honored to be seated beside you to talk about the Project 40 Knowledge Hub. And I'm pretty sure we would have new audiences joining us at the show. And you're wondering, what does the Project 40 Knowledge Hub mean? What is it all about? So, Mr. Gregory, would you like to explain to us what it's all about?
Of course, I will. Hello, if you're just joining us for the very first time, you are welcome. And the Project 40 Knowledge Hub is a community of entrepreneurs and workplace professionals who are serious about making a difference here on earth. We have an array of robust faculty that is equipping us with knowledge that we can use to be able to advance our careers. And then we are talking about a community of individuals who are under the age of 40. So this is for youth. If you are a youth, you want to make sure that you also invite another person who is a youth to hook onto this program, as we have so much in stock for you for this season. So you want to make sure that you do not miss any episode in this season, because we are going to be dishing out relevant, contemporary knowledge that you can use hands-on to purchase everything that you want for your life while you're still here.
Definitely. And obviously, we all know that in the generation that we're in at the moment, if you don't have the right knowledge, right materials, right equipment, you would quickly wash out in whatever industry that it is that you're in. So knowledge is not a luxury anymore, it is a necessity. Absolutely. And if you did not join us at the previous edition, I would implore you to go back to our YouTube page and check it out. We had a lot of good facilitators that drummed bombs on every topic that they delivered. We had the person of Dr. Salami, who spoke on developing the emotions within you, which is a very necessary topic.
Absolutely.
Needed in this generation right now. We also had the person of Madam Mirola, and she spoke on effectively communicating your personal brand. So not limited to creators, even in the business space, you need to effectively communicate your personal brand. We also had the person of Dr. Linus Okorie, and he spoke on leading your way to greatness. We had the person of Mr. Hiladi. He spoke on re-engineering our mindset for greatness, which is very key. And we also had the person of Mr. Jimmy Tewe, and he spoke on how to network better. Mr. Greg, I'm sure you have a lot more sophisticated personnel.
Yes,
so
we had the likes of Dr. Ogochukwu Omegu, who taught us on breaking all limitations, everything holding us back from going out to be your real self, to achieving your real purpose. And then we also had Mr. Barrow, who taught us on rethinking success. We had the leadership expert himself, Mr. Niyi Adesonya, who taught us on moving from average to greatness. We had Dr. Abioye, who also taught us on developing adversity intelligence. Jimmy Tewe, who taught us on discovering your real purpose, and Temi Ajibewa, who taught us on automating peak performance. The first season was such a blast. You want to make sure that you visit our YouTube channel to, refresh your mind on all of these topics.
It was a bomb. And shortly, we are having our first edition for this season. Dr. Abioye himself would be taking us through this first edition. And trust me, he's coming fully packed with all the resources that you need. So if you don't have your pen, your papers, your jotters, you would do well to get them out right now. It's obviously the third month in this year. We said Happy New Year 2 days ago. I am very sure of that.
Of course.
It was 2 days ago.
Of course.
It was not more than that. And it's already the third month in the year.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Greg, can you tell us what this edition is going to be all about?
Yes, like she was saying about being in the third month of the year already. It seems like just yesterday, but the year is already on its sprint. You can recall that at the start of the year, you wrote down things that you want to achieve. your goals, resolutions and all of that. And then you also mapped out a strategy that you're going to adopt to be able to achieve your goals. But the big question would be, how well are you doing? That is why today's section is so important. On today's topic, we shall be discussing executing your strategy. It's not just enough to have strategies. Most importantly is, how do you execute them and how well do you execute those strategies? Yes, so.
Yeah. And we would also be shedding more light on making the next 9 months count. Obviously, it is 9 months remaining, and are you people sure it's 9 months? I don't think so, but it's 9 months remaining, and you had strategies, you had goals, you had things that you definitely wanted to accomplish this year. If you don't quickly get on it, the year will catch up with you.
Absolutely.
And you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
So making the next 9 months count is an important part in executing your strategy for this year.
Yes. And then we don't want to waste much of your time. We want to get right into it. And to take us on today's topic, we have the visionary himself, Dr. Abioye. Okay. Hello, sir. You look good. How are you doing over there?
Sir, you look like a Gen Z.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Abioye and Greg. And it feels so good to be back on the Project 40 Knowledge Hub. For me, I'm super excited. Like Abioye was saying that I look like a Gen Z person or boss, okay? Of course, I'm still very youthful at heart. For those joining us for the first time on this edition, Project 40 is something that is so dear to my heart, okay? I remember clearly when I clocked 40, July 26, 2021, we launched what we call Project 40 Knowledge Hub. And this is I'll call this the second season, because we've been on a long break, and I said to myself at the beginning of this year that the Project 40 monthly training and knowledge platform must come back. Okay. It is said that you cannot give what you do not have. When you don't have peace, it's difficult for you to extend peace. All right. When you don't have love in you, it's difficult for you to extend love to others. Okay. I've had my own fair share of adversity, distractions, and everything. And I did a reflection and I said to myself, Abioye, remember that Project 40 is your first love. Go back to your first love. Keep empowering these young Africans. Okay. Because the whole idea is to inspire young Africans below the age of 40 to achieving greatness before they clock 40. And for those of you, all right, that are over 40, it's an indicator that we need to ensure we create a plan that guarantees that future we really desire. So I would like to use this opportunity to welcome every one of you watching us, okay? And it's going to be a very interesting model we are deploying at this live broadcast today. All right. I know some of us, you are watching me from different parts, different city of Africa, different city of the world. I can see some of us joining us from Accra in Ghana, some of us from Douala in Cameroon, Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt. All right. Greg and Abioye had requested already. Okay, just pay close attention to this edition today. Today's content is not one of those very happy, easy to comprehend content. Okay, it is specially designed for entrepreneurs. Okay, they have great vision. Entrepreneurs that have great strategy. Entrepreneurs that started 2025, okay, with a great desire to transforming the scope and frontier of their business. So if you want to move your business to the next level, I said to you, today's edition is yours. So you need to pay close attention. And I can assure you, in the next 40 minutes maximum, I will be done. Okay? And of course, if you are not an entrepreneur, that means you've not established your own business. You work for an organization. That means you are an intrapreneur. An entrepreneur is not an employee, okay? An entrepreneur is a workplace professional that has a mindset of an entrepreneur, and they are always very successful. For example, the CEO of Google, one of the most richest people in the world, but guess what? He isn't the founder of Google, all right, but he is a very successful entrepreneur, because today's content, you can use it to earn your next desired promotion. Because in today's marketplace, in today's organizations, companies are looking for people that bring great ideas to the table. And there is no way your great ideas will be executed successfully, all right, that it will not ripple on your on your integrity, on your status, and the way you are perceived in such an organization. All right, as you have seen in our flyer, as Greg and Bimbola have said to us, our topic for today is executing your strategy. When I was thinking that, okay, what do we do? What do we bring to the table for this March edition? I realized that we just have few days to the end of the first quarter of 2025, okay? And a lot of people are gradually even giving up already. They are forgetting about their strategic plans for the year. And I said, okay, let's use this content, all right, to stimulate action. I always say to people, I am not a motivational speaker. Okay, I don't speak to you to inspire you. I don't even have the capacity to inspire you. Okay, if you rely on programs like this to get inspired, you are living dangerously. I must say this to you. You must be your number one inspiration. You must have the capacity to inspire yourself. All right. When you read books, like I said in one of our previous editions, okay, when you read books, as you are listening to me today, my primary role is to stimulate action in you. So I simply speak to stimulate, because you are the most powerful factor in this equation today. So mine is just to be a strategic partner to you. And I hope you are going to follow me closely to the end of today's edition. All right. And as I speak, a whole lot of questions will pop up. All right. A whole lot of questions. Okay. And because I want to make this edition as quick, as prompt as possible. All right. I'm not going to ask you to unmute your mic so that you can ask those questions, because it could drag the edition. Okay. And we also want to make this YouTube friendly, because we are going to upload this on YouTube for a replay. Now, for all your questions, note them down. Okay, and go to our WhatsApp platform. I want to believe so strongly that you are all on the WhatsApp platform. Go to the WhatsApp platform, drop all your questions, areas for clarification. Then I will take my time to answer you. Okay, and where I need to drop a voice note, I will drop a voice note, and that helps you to read again, to replay, and of course, it helps you to internalize my response to you. And if you are not on the WhatsApp group, not to worry. All right, Emmanuel, if you can hear me clearly, please kindly drop the link to the WhatsApp and let them join. All right. So, and of course, if you've not invited your friend to be on this edition, please, it's never too late. They will send you a love letter after. Now, before I go into the content very quickly, there's certain foundation I would like to lay, because this is very important. We entrepreneurs, we need to change the way we perceive ourselves. By the time we start perceiving ourselves the right way, it helps it helps a great way in redefining our mindset and the way we perceive challenges. Okay, every entrepreneur needs to know that you are a war general. All right, you are a general. Okay, in the war field, the marketplace in the 21st century, with all its competitions, challenges, and everything, every entrepreneur must see himself or herself as a war general. And your staff, the people that you are privileged to partner with you, to work with you, they are your soldiers. All right, they are your soldiers. Now, most people mistake strategy and tactics, your business tactics and your business strategy are not exactly the same thing. Strategy is holistic, okay? Why tactics is narrow. All right? Strategy is long term, why tactics is short term. All right? Your business strategy is designed to define and structure a big picture for your organization. Are we together? Now, your tactic are the things, actions, short-term actions that you need to do to take you, okay, to that strategic end you desire. All right? So what that simply means is that as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, okay, you formulate, you create the strategy, and your staff, your team members, they execute the tactics. The tactics are the little things you have to do every day. And we formulate the strategies, and like I said already, our staff simply implements the tactics. Strategy is a collection of multiple tactics with a big picture objective. And I'll take that again. Strategy is a collection of multiple tactics, okay, with a big picture in mind. Okay, if you are still the one implementing your business tactics, that simply means you do not have a structure yet. That means you do not have a business yet. You need to do the thinking, you create the job, and let others get the job done. Then you stay at that strategic level. All right? Tactics are narrow, like I said already, and of course, they are narrow and short-term actions. Okay? Strategies are wide and long-term actions. I needed to re-emphasize this, okay? The critical question I would like to ask you is, where do you expect your organization to be in the next 9 months? Okay, the next 9 months, you need to declare a state of emergency on your business processes, no matter how well you are doing right now, no matter how badly you are doing right now, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's exactly what I've decided to do. That between April and December, I have declared an absolute state of emergency on my company, on my businesses, on everything I do. So what I've simply meant, there is no lottery around for the next 9 months. Okay, because once I'm able to implement my strategic goal for the next 9 months, there is a reward, okay, for it. So I've simply put in my goal, okay, that Abioye, if you are able to achieve this by 31st of December, this is the gift you are going to reward yourself. You've got to do what? Incentivize this declaration of state of emergency on yourself. Okay, that once I'm able to succeed at implementing this, all right, you know what that simply means? That means that you are going to start 2026 from a point of advantage and not disadvantage. You are going to start 2026 as an industry leader and as an industry player and not as an industry spectator. It is very dangerous to be a spectator in the marketplace. You can easily be run over by those trucks. Remember, I said the marketplace is a war field. And as a general in the marketplace, you've got to ensure that you have as much arsenal as possible. And the whole idea of this edition of Project 14 Knowledge Hub, okay, is to equip you with new weapons that you can deploy in defeating those limiting factors that might want to attack your strategic goal for this year. I really wish I can cry to explain the importance of this. Okay, now what your company, now this is very important as I wrap up this foundation laying process, what your company does, okay, is more important than what your company says. Let me say that again. What your company does is more important than what your company says. What that simply means is that, because I know a whole lot of us, we are very vibrant at marketing, creating things on our display, on our status, and so on and so forth. Now, in the next 9 months, as part of your state of emergency declaration, talk less, do more, and let your results speak louder for you. What did I say? Talk less, do more. Because why is it important for you to talk less? I've come to realize, see, I'm not talking from the point of the Harvard Business Review, what the small G Uncle Google has told me. I'm saying this from the point of experience. I've been around for a while. The more you declare those factors, those things you want to do, when they don't have strong foundations, the more you expose them to attack. Remember, it's a warfield. And in strategic combating, in strategic studies, all right, you don't declare your plans when it is not properly rooted. You need to ensure that all the elements that will make your strategic goals work has been fully structured, and they are alive and living, that it's even too late for devil to attack them. Okay, so it's very important that you talk less, do more, and let your result do the speaking for you. In the process, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be building a solid brand, because no result, no respect. No result, no respect. All right? Then, there's something I would like to share as I wrap up this. As you implement your strategy, okay, in the next 9 months, you need to be wary of the blind spots phenomenon. The blind spots. We as entrepreneurs, we are so inspired. We have everything all worked out. Okay? Then there is always a blind spot. If you are not careful, that blind spot can tarnish your image, can tarnish your reputation, can take you 2 years backward. You've got to be very careful. Again, I'm talking from experience. I remember sometime in 2021, we launched a very beautiful project construction-wise in Port Harcourt. I did not see a blind spot. By the time I noticed that blind spot, the damage had been done already. My reputation was practically on the line. What I had worked for 10 years, I was almost losing it, which is my name. Lack of ability to know that there is always a blind spot can tarnish everything you have worked for. Okay, so it's very important, all right? And to identify that blind spot, it is very important that you implement what I call a strategic portfolio management policy. Strategic portfolio management policy. Now, in your strategic plan, there are different projects. For example, let's say you are a caterer, for example. You want to run, and in the next 9 months, you want to ensure that your catering firm, handles some of the biggest events in Abuja, in Accra, in Kigali, in Douala. I don't know where you're watching from right now, and you're a caterer. So what that means that you need to break your catering business into different projects. Okay, there are different aspects of catering. Okay, the pastry aspect of, for example, should not be mixed with the aspect that has to do with the heavy wet cooking and so on and so forth. Okay, there is a nutritional aspect of catering, for example. So you need to ensure that you break them into different projects and ensure that for every mandate you have, you need to have a portfolio manager. So within your team, you must have a portfolio manager, somebody that asks all the dirty questions, somebody that keep asking what could go wrong, somebody that is a simulator of crisis. So what that means that as a real estate developer, for example, before you start a project, simply ask yourself, what aspect of this project can send me to jail? Okay, what happens if this building collapses in the next 9 months, for example? Okay, you are not being negative. No, you are being strategic. Because you now need to ask yourself, okay, these are things that can go wrong. Now, what can we do to prevent, to mitigate? You are being strategic. So that means that portfolio, you are managing that portfolio strategically, and there must be a portfolio strategic managers. So in the next 30 minutes, as I gradually wrap up this session, I'm going to talk to you about these 6 critical phenomena on how to implement your strategy. And most importantly, my friends, making the next 9 months yours. So are we on the same page that we should all declare a state of emergency on ourselves, on your business? So what that simply means is that there are some phone calls you will not make again in the next 9 months. What that simply means is that there are some people you will reduce your communication with them. What that simply means is that there are some of your social life you have to cut. Don't worry. Deprive yourself of certain of these things. By the time you've built a solid organization that is on autopilot, that does not require your physical presence to run again, then you can go on all vacations you want. And those the beautiful thing here, that's the beautiful thing of success. Success creates more success, failure creates more failure. Okay, in those vacations, that's where your mind will be free. Strategic ideas will come in. Then you now ask yourself, who in my network can be my strategic portfolio manager in the implementation of these great new ideas? But at this stage, be true to yourself. Okay, so as I wrap up on this edition, okay, like I said already, I've said a whole lot of things already, and I've requested that you note down all your questions, then take them to the WhatsApp group. All right, take them to the WhatsApp group. Ask all those questions on the WhatsApp group. I'm going to respond to all those questions, no matter how much they are, by text and by voice. So let's do it. Now, number 1, introduction to strategy execution. Okay. Number 2, we are going to wrap up by talking about key components of strategic execution. Then number 3, we'll talk about steps to execute your strategy. Then number 4, tools and technique for strategic execution. Then number 5, very importantly, common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Then, of course, number 6, we'll talk about examples of business strategies, because, some of you might even be confused. Okay, really, what is a business strategy? All right, so I'll wrap up by giving us practical examples of using real companies. So, introduction to strategy execution. Okay. Strategy execution is a process of turning strategic plans into action, into actions to achieve desired outcomes. Okay, strategy execution in your notes. All right. Hope you all have your P square with you. I hope Abimbola reminded you of doing that. Okay, your P square. Okay, I'm not saying Paul and Peter now. All right, I'm simply saying your pen and paper. Okay, now let me quickly share this with you. Have you ever dreamt and you woke up and say, wow, this dream is so fantastic. This looks like an answer to my problem. Let me just sleep for another 1 hour. When I wake up, I'm going to do something about this dream. Then you wake up after 1 hour, 2 hours. You try to remember. That dream has disappeared. But do you know that with your P square, you can become a dream trapper. You can trap that dream. Even the devil cannot even delete it again. You know how you do it? That's why God is so very powerful. He has given us all the tools we need in life. Okay, and one of those tools is your pen and paper. Okay, even in the Bible, the Bible in Habakkuk said, write your vision. Write it. Don't say it. Write it first. Make it as plain. All right? Because with that, even the devil cannot come and erase it. So I encourage you, this is just an additional content. Become a dream trapper, always by your bedside, going forward, as part of your state of emergency declaration. Because you are going to take some of these, your strategic plans to God. I believe so much in God, the God factor. And in the course of your sleep, God will give you revelation. And you need to quickly wake up as if you are possessed and quickly note it down. Okay, note it down, all right? If possible, you can even take it to the next level. Always ensure that you have a glass or a cup of water by your bedside, because some of these things you might feel as you want to shock, but you've got to do exactly what I'm doing right now. Fantastic. All right. So back to your note. All right. And I really want to encourage you. Please take as much note as possible. Reflect over those notes. All right. Internalize those notes. Localize it. And of course, apply. Trust me, you will eventually get results. So, as I was saying, strategy execution is a process of turning strategic plans into actions to achieve desired outcome. All right. So I'm sure on your plan, okay, for 2025, you have your goals all set. Your goals are your desired outcomes. Okay, your goals are your desired outcomes. So what that simply means is that for you to get to those goals, there are processes that you must follow. There are strategies that you must apply. All right? That's why this definition simply says that strategy execution is the process of turning strategic plans. So what are your strategic plans for 2025? Okay? And of course, it's those plans that will create the kind of actions you are going to implement so that you can achieve your desired outcome. All right. Then it is also very important we note that even the best of strategies fail without proper execution. All right. Even the best of strategies fail without what? Proper execution. So everything I want you to do at the end of this March edition is execution. You just have to start applying all these concepts. You need to start taking actions, and those your actions must be knowledge backed, must be informed action, because execution is the real value, okay, to create. It's when you execute effectively that is when you are able to create the desired value you want. So there are key challenges, okay, there are key challenges that affect the proper execution, okay, or that affect your desired outcome. Number one of those challenges is misalignment. Misalignment. Your strategy must be properly aligned to your organizational structure. And I'll be talking more about this in the course of this content today. All right. So there must be an alignment between your strategy and the mindset of the people that work with you. Okay. There must be an alignment between your strategy and the individual visions of the people that will implement those strategies so that they can co-own it with you. So alignment is very key. Then secondly, lack of resources. Lack of resources is another big challenge. In the course of this edition too, I'll be talking about resources, okay, and how you can deploy these resources, because sometimes our strategy fails because we lack financial resources. And there is something I would like you to note, okay? What you lack in cash, you can make it up in numbers. What you lack in cash, you can make it up in numbers. What does that mean? What you lack in cash, you can make it up in relationships. For example, you are looking at raising $5 million for a project. Okay, banks are not ready to give you the finances. You are not even qualified for a bank loan, for example, because of your limited track record. All right. Now, once you understand that real money is not naira, is not dollar, is not cedis, okay? Real money is relationship. So one of the things I would like to encourage you is that as part of your state of emergency, is that if you do not have the right relationships, quickly spend time in building the right relations, and it takes a whole lot of time. So you have to be deliberate about building the right relationship, because there's that $5 million you're looking for. Okay, you can simply do what is called a form of private placement. You can crowdfund it. All right, so whereby you can divide that project, the value, into 50. I say, you know what, 50%. Whereby give me $5 million and you own or you share 50 to 60% of my profit. You know, so this is very important because poor people like to own 100% of zero. Okay, so it's very important that you apply creativity in getting resources. Sometimes, my friends, okay, and this speaks to me too. Sometimes what we need is not necessarily more resources. What we need is to be more resourceful. Okay, there is a difference between resourcefulness and resources. Okay, resourcefulness is your ability to make the best of what you have around you. Resourcefulness is starting from where you are. Resourcefulness is you not having scarcity mentality, destination mentality that, oh, I will only start when I have $5 million. Who says that? Start with what you have, and the resources you need will eventually locate you. Then another big challenge that affects your proper execution of your strategy is poor communication. See, as a business executive, as a team leader, it is better you are guilty of over communicating than under communicating. Ensure you communicate this strategy to everybody. Use all sort of means to communicating, and I'll be talking more about communication in the course of this presentation. Okay, then of course, resistance to change. This is a major headache for any business executive, especially if you are well structured. You might present that strategy at the board level, and most of your board members might not see what you are seeing. Okay, and they might resist that change you are trying to bring. And that is where communication comes in. All right, that is where communication comes in. So always ask yourself, what do I do if this strategy is resisted by my team members, my board members, my stakeholders? So it is always very important. Okay, now let's quickly move forward by talking about the key component of strategy execution. That is number 2 on our learning objective for today. Key components of strategy execution. Number 1 is clear vision and objective. Clear vision and objective. This is very important. Your vision must be extremely clear. Okay, you must have a very clear vision statement, and that vision statement must be properly understood by every of your stakeholders. Your vision statement should be in every part of your organization, okay, on your vision board. It is very important, and ensure everyone understands the end goal. Make sure that nobody is too small, even the cleaner in your organization should understand the end goal. When the cleaner in your organization understands the end goal, that cleaner will one day aspire to becoming an administrative assistant. The administrative assistant will aspire to becoming an administrative executive. So when people that work with you understand the end goal, trust me, they will give their all because they can see the future in that vision of yours. Alignment is very important. So you must develop the capacity to align your strategy with your organizational structure. So imagine part of your strategy in the next 9 months is to expand your business across the countries within West Africa. Now the question is that your organizational structure is in alignment with that kind of strategy. Okay, do you have a regional director or a regional partner, okay, that takes care of each of those countries? Because if you don't, that strategy is almost dead on arrival. And let me also say this to you. So Abioye, truly, I've been thinking of going around West Africa and expanding my business around West Africa. But the problem is that I cannot afford to employ a country manager in Ghana, for example, or in the Ivory Coast. But do you know the truth that if your vision is strong enough, people will buy into that vision? All right? There is a way you can have a country director in Ghana that is not on your salary. Okay, like Jim Rohn will say that we must develop the capacity to communicate effectively. You know, because you can tell the person, say, see, my vision is this is my vision. Okay, I know you are up there, I can't even pay you, but guess what? This vision can pay you. All right, and let us go into a partnership and whatever we generate in Ghana, in the Ivory Coast or Liberia, I don't know where your interest is, so percentage comes to you. Voila. On your brochure, country director, Ghana, they will say, wow, this guy is big. Of course you are big. So you must also be strategic in your engagement, in your thinking. Never allow money to be your number one limiting factor. So you've got to be very creative. So organizational structure must be well aligned. I spoke about culture already, okay? And of course, resources, okay? And I'll be talking about resources very shortly. Now, thirdly, part of key components, okay, to strategic execution is effective communication. Okay, communicate the strategy clearly and consistently across all levels. As a matter of fact, be guilty of over communication than what? Under communication. It's better you are guilty. They say, this is our boss every time, every morning, he's always talking about this. Okay, so it's very important that you communicate this effectively, because those team members of yours are the people that will implement. Remember, I said already, you are a war general. Okay, as a general, you develop the strategic direction of the battle. All right, then your staff are your soldiers. They are the one that implement your business tactics, which are the small, short-time activities that needs to be done to attaining your goals. Okay, then number 4 under this section is resources allocation. Okay, allocate resources the right way. And when I talk about resources, I'm talking about finance, human resources, technology, and so on. Now you might say, okay, Abioye, my primary limiting factor in implementing this strategy is finance. Now, let me say this to you. What you lack in money, make it up in relationship. That is why, as a business executive, listen to me right now, it is very important that you invest heavily in building the right relationship. All right? It is very important you build the right relationship. Okay, I've traveled out of this country for a very important meeting in the middle of my adversity. Okay, I was almost, as in my account was almost practically empty. But guess what? I traveled, I flew well. Guess what I spent? I simply spent my social capital because I had relationships. So that's why you need to be very careful that don't over put demands on those relationships. During good times, invest heavily on those relationships so that the day you will need them, when you call on them, they will easily say yes to you. Okay? Now, another aspect is performance management. This is very important. If you want to implement your strategy, you must have a proper performance management system that establishes the right metrics and your KPIs. That is your key performance indicators. So what that simply means is that you've already broken your strategic goal in the next 9 months into smaller activities, okay, with your portfolio project managers overseeing each of those activities. So you must have an indicator that shows performance. So that will greatly help you to know if you are getting closer to a fantastic 31st of December 2025 or not. All right. Change management. All right. It's very important. Okay. It is very important because there will always be resistance. So you must have a proper change management technique. Okay. So number 3 on executing your strategy. Okay. Now I would like us to quickly look at steps to executing your strategy. So that practical steps that each and every one of us, including myself, need to take in the next 9 months. Number 1, define clear objectives. All right? Define clear objective. What that simply means is that you've got to break down the strategy into actionable goals. And you can use matrix like the SMART matrix, whereby those goals must be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, okay, and time-bound. These are timeless model that you can use in breaking down those goals. Okay? Step number 2, develop an action plan. Develop an action plan. Strategy minus action equals frustration. You don't want to be frustrated, trust me. So you need to develop an action plan, okay? And to develop an action plan, it is important you create detailed action plans with timelines, okay? Not just with timelines, with responsibilities. So you say, okay, for this action, it needs to be done within this time frame. This is the person that will execute this. So you have a team of 5. So you let each of them know that, oh, for this specific action, I am in charge of it. So don't just leave it blank. If not, you will not, there will not be responsibilities. And of course, at the end of the day, you will end up being frustrated. Okay? And of course, you've got to identify key milestones and deliverables. All right? You've got to identify key milestones and deliverables. Okay, step number 3, align the organization. What does that mean? Ensure all department and team are aligned with the strategy. There must not be any form of misalignment. Okay, from your technical unit to your administration unit to your finance unit, okay, to your operational unit. Okay, it is very important that there is alignment. Everybody's action is a small piece of the puzzle, okay, towards an holistic strategic goal. Okay, very, very, very important. And of course, adjust organizational structure if necessary. Because sometimes when you look at your organogram does not even align with your strategy. Like I gave an example already. If your strategy is to penetrate, okay, into different countries within West Africa, for example, then that must be properly reflected in your organogram. So don't be scared to always adjust your structure to reflect your strategy. Okay, step number 4, communicate the strategy. Communicate, and communicate. And there is a book I would like to refer to you to read. It's by John C. Maxwell, and it is titled, Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect. Everyone communicates, but few connect. Reading that book helped me to hone my communication skill, especially internal communication with your team members. So it's very important. So use multiple channels to communicate the strategy. Okay, you can use verbal communication technique. So whereby every Monday when you guys meet at your team alignment meeting, always ensure that you communicate verbally clearly. You can use visuals. Okay, you can use images and put it in different parts of the world in the organization. Those images are simply communicating. You can use videos to communicate at your reception. So the videos that is being played at your reception are all in alignment. So as they are passing, they are seeing it. Guess what? In the toilet. Okay, put images there. All right? Just put it in everybody's face on your vision board. Put it there. You can see it. It helps you to create what I call positive obsession. All right? So communicate the strategy, ensure transparency, and encourage feedback. Because in the course of implementing the strategy, have an open communication policy within your organization. Encourage the people that work with you to give you feedback, to give feedback about how the company is doing. That will help you to realign when it is necessary. So step number 5, allocate resources. Whether we like it or not, resources are required for successful strategic implementation. All right. So you've got to prioritize projects and initiatives that align with your strategy. Okay. And of course, ensure adequate funding. Like I said already, whether we like it or not, we need money. And I've said already that what you lack in cash, make it up in relationship. All right, whatever you lack in cash, make it up in relationship. That is why it is important. You must learn to co-own your vision with others. Don't try to own 100% of zero. All right, it's better you own 5% of something great. So what that means that if you've noticed that finance is a critical factor which you do not have, then because you have a great vision already, co-own your vision with people. All right, I think our next episode should really be on raising finances for your business, and I will show us how you can organically grow your organization. That will be at the next month edition of the Project 40 Knowledge Hub. Then step number 6, monitor progress. Monitor progress. All right, this is very important. Regular review progress against your key performance indicators. All right, use dashboard and report your performance. How well are you doing? Okay, and there is this very interesting model, that you can even use in monitoring your progress. For example, you've already created your key performance indicators. All right. So what that simply means is that every day you need to ask yourself, how well have we done today? Are we closer to our strategic goal, or we have moved further from it? So these are critical questions you must teach your team members to ask before they sleep every day. Then their response will stimulate the right action the next day. Then step number 4, adjust and adapt. Adjust and adapt. Be prepared to make adjustments based on feedback and changing circumstances. This is very important. You've already planned that you are moving your product to Ghana, for example. Thank God there is what they call the African Free Trade Agreement that allows product to move across Africa without any form of taxation or blockage. So you now say, okay, I have a great market in Accra I want to move into. Then you've already planned, you've shipped in your product into Accra, for example. You now realize that the people you are planning to work with, there is an association, okay, they were supposed to be aligned with, but they are not aligned with that association. Okay, and now because of that, your product cannot go into the market. Are you going to say because of that, you will move your product back to Nigeria? No, you've got to be flexible. Okay, you've got to be flexible. Then you've got to behave like water. Water will always find its level. So you say, okay, what do we need to do? How do we need to be compliant? How do we need to now register this product to ensure? But registering the product was not part of your strategic goal or plan when you started this, when you were in Nigeria. But on getting to Ghana, you now realize that, your product is not even market ready. Okay, because there apparently a law was passed at the Ghana Parliament that such product must be regulated through a new body, but you never knew. So you just have to be very flexible. You've got to adopt, okay, adjust, and of course adapt in the process. Okay, now let's quickly move to another subheading as we wrap up gradually, which is tools and techniques for strategic execution. Okay, number 1 is what is called the balance scorecard. Okay, it's what is called the balance scorecard. And now the balance scorecard is something I will encourage you to go and learn and read about. It was first created by 2 Harvard professors in 1992 with the name Robert Kaplan and David Newton. All right, and the balance scorecard is a strategic system that helps you, okay, in strategic planning and management system that aligns business activities to the vision and your strategy. Okay, that is what the balance scorecard will simply teach you. And there's another interesting model I've used over the past 10 years. It's called the ADKAR model. Okay, ADKAR. Okay, ADKAR is awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. So what that simply means is that you must be aware of the elements that are required. Okay, you must be aware of the ecosystem of the marketplace. Okay, and you must have that desire to work along and within those elements Okay, and of course, you must develop the required knowledge to be able to play effectively in that marketplace. And that knowledge will have given you the ability. Okay, then of course, that ability will always reinforce you against any possible challenge. So, learn more about the ADCAR model on things that can really help you in executing your strategic plan. Okay, number 5 on our subhead is common pitfall. Okay, common pitfall we all need to avoid. Okay, number 1 is lack of clear communication. Lack of clear communication. So ensure consistent and clear communication within your organization. Number 2 is poor alignment. Okay, and this is very important. You must ensure that your strategy, your vision is in alignment with the personal goal and aspiration of your staff member or the people that work with you. Once there is no alignment, trust me, that your strategy will not be implemented, because they know that as they are implementing that strategy, they are also achieving their own personal goals and aspirations also. Then number 3 is inadequate resources. Okay, inadequate resources. It could be lack of resources in finance. It could be lack of resources in manpower. It could be lack of resources in the right technology needed, okay, to take that idea to the next level. Okay, then number 4 is resistance to change. Okay, maybe some of your board members are saying, no, this is not going to work. Or some of your stakeholders, your funders, they feel you are being too audacious. So you must learn, and that is where communication comes in. So always ensure that you have the buy-in of everybody that will help you in making that strategic goal a reality. Then finally, failure to monitor your progress. Okay, that's why I encourage you to go and learn about the balance scorecard and the ADCAR model. Okay, this is very important. Then, of course, let me quickly pause here and ask you, from all I've said, okay, in the past few minutes, what has struck you the most? So I would like you to drop it on the chat bar. Okay, what are the things that you feel you want to implement going further? And that could just help somebody and stimulate a thought in them. Now, example of business strategies. Okay, and this is the real final content for today. All right. Now, I will just, there are a whole lot of them, but I will just want to reference just 3 because of time. For some of you, for example, you could say, oh, my strategy is cost leadership strategy. Okay, cost leadership strategy. So what does that mean? So what that simply means that aiming to becoming the lowest cost producer in your industry. So you say, oh, my plate of jollof rice, for example, I want it to be the cheapest in the industry. Okay, I want my 2-bedroom apartment to be the cheapest in the industry. So what are you going to do? Okay, now example of companies that have implemented cost leadership strategy successfully is Walmart, for example. Walmart used a cost leadership strategy by leveraging its massive scale to do what? To negotiate lower prices from suppliers and passing these savings on to what? To the customers. So that's why in the US, for example, everybody wants to shop at a Walmart store because they know they will get the cheapest price there. But you know what Walmart has simply done? Because they have a strong scale, they were able to do what? To negotiate a lower price. And instead of them saving that money to themselves, they passed it down strategically to the customers, and they leverage on the power of volume. And today, they are one of the richest organizations in the world. Another business strategy is differentiation strategy, okay, whereby offering unique product or services that stand out from your competitors. An example of this is Apple, for example. Apple differentiates itself through innovative design, user-friendly interface, and strong brand ecosystem. It's such a fully integrated organization. Okay, so that is an example of differentiation strategy. Another example is focus strategy, okay, which means that concentrating on a specific market niche and segment. Example of this is Tesla. Okay, initially focused on high-end electric vehicle market before they expanded into a more affordable model or models. Okay, these are just 3 examples of business strategy. So which are you going to deploy, okay, for your business in the next 9 months? On the WhatsApp group, I'm going to drop about 10 different strategic model. Then that could stimulate thought in you. Then it helps you to realign your strategic plan for the next 9 months. All right, for the next 9 months, then you'll be able to now create a unique focus for yourself and for your business. I really want to thank you all for staying with me to this very point. I feel so excited that God has finally put his breath back on the Project 40 knowledge of. Trust me, nothing stopping us again. We are going to meet again on the 26th of April, and we are going to expand the frontier of this conversation by talking about practical ways to raising finances, to funding your organizations organically, because I know as part of the resources required to implementing these strategies will be finances, will be that naira, that CD, okay, that dollar you need to be able to implement some of your goals. I'm super excited. Thank you everyone for staying with us to this point. Then I will drift into the WhatsApp group shortly after catching my breath, and I will answer all your questions. My name is Abioye. If you are not following me yet on Instagram, the handle is the Abioye. Okay, you can also follow me on IG, and of course, let's keep following ourselves till we'll achieve greatness. My desire is that by December 2025, okay, ending of this year, we'll all be super excited, and we might even want to move for a physical retreat where we will meet at a destination, okay, and we all share our testimonials on how we're able to win the game called 2025. So Greg and Bimbola, please take it over from here, and thank you for hosting me at this beautiful studio today.
Wow, what a section that was. Thank you very much, Dr. Abioye. Okay, that was such a life-stimulating section you just dished out, and I hope you are as inspired as I was. In fact, what stood out for me the most is that for you to be able to, change strategy, it should align with your vision, the original vision you had. Otherwise, you're going to have issues. So for me, I'm already thinking of what I'm going to be doing the moment I get out of this studio. I hope you are as well. So it was a powerful section, like we promised you from the beginning of this show. Doctor was on top of his game, yes. And be rest assured that the rest of the season is going to continue to deliver hits as we have promised. So I want to especially thank every one of you for staying tuned with us all through the beginning of this show, and then we are hoping that you would be right on WhatsApp, the group on WhatsApp, to ask your questions, and you can be rest assured that Doctor will be very much available to answer those questions himself personally. From me, it is bye-bye.
From me too, it is bye-bye. Also, please, once more, don't forget, please join the WhatsApp group and make sure you ask your questions. That group is an opportunity for you to be mentored by Dr. Abioye as well as many other facilitators. So make sure you are there to drop your questions, and you will definitely get answers. Once again, thank you for joining us. We are at the Polkadot Studio by Lifestyle Hub here in Cyber Towers on the 7th floor in the city of Abuja, Nigeria. We hope to see you more in the next editions. Bye for now.